Okay, there were some tech issues that just happened. Whew. So sorry about that. If you have been watching, if you were watching before, I'm gonna wait till some more people come on. That way I can go ahead and get started. So sorry about that. I thought I was doing something that would help, but it did not help at all. So we're starting this stream over again. um, so if you just were watching my live that I just ended, I'm gonna go ahead and just delete that last one from my channel because, oh my goodness, tech issues are just crazy, aren't they? Okay, so go ahead and jump right in. If you are just tuning in, I did have my a podcast episode just up, but then I had to take it down because I just totally messed up. But hey, we're gonna dive right into podcast episodes and this one and do all about how to run a crochet blog hop. So if you are a crochet designer and you have been wondering how to increase your blog traffic on your blog, or you have been wondering how to grow your audience or grow your email list, if you are, or you're just wondering how do crochet designers run blog hops in general, then this is a great podcast for episode for you. Today, I'm the only person that will be doing this podcast episode. Usually I have different guests, and that's how it will be for upcoming episodes. But you get to hang out with me, and I am going to share all of my tips and tricks for how to run a successful blog hop. So blog hops are designed to grow your blog, whether you're trying to reach the goal of Mediavine with 25,000 sessions in a 30-day period, or you're trying to reach a goal with your email list, or you're just wanting to increase your ad revenue a little bit more, because it can get really discouraging as a crochet blogger when you aren't seeing traffic coming in, you're not seeing that ad revenue increasing, and you're just wondering, how can I grow my blog? Because when you start out, it feels like there's so much information out there. There's so many different sources coming in of people telling you their advice of how to grow their blog. But I want to provide kind of my take on different things that I've experimented with and how I have seen blog hops be something that really can increase your business as well as growing your audience. So blog hops are, like I've said, they're designed to grow. They are hosted by one blogger that will organize a bunch of different bloggers who will each share something with their audience. It will usually be free content. So with crochet designers, that is usually a free pattern. And the host will have a new featured designer every single day who will share their crochet pattern for a certain period of time, or it will just be available on their blog always. There are a couple different types of blog hops that I have done. I've experimented with a lot of different types just to kind of figure out what is the type that will be the most successful and beneficial for my audience as well as myself, because there's a lot that goes into blog hops. There's a lot of time, there's a lot of organization. You are devoting that period of time to your blog hop, and it's really hard to find time for anything else. And if you guys have any questions about blog hops in general, go ahead and put it in the live chat. That way we can address those questions as I go through this, and I can just give you the answers that you might need. I am putting together a blog post right now, as well as a kind of some printables of what different formats that I use, different email types that I use, just so that you can have basically a beginner's kit of how to run a blog hop. So there will be a couple different types of blog hops that people will do. One of them is where you just have free patterns inside of blog hosts on blogs. So that won't involve a PDF. That won't involve directing them to a download for that pattern. It will just specifically be where you have that on just your blog post. So like I have free patterns available on my blog. And so when I have run that type of blog hop, I will just point them to a designer's blog and they can just get that free pattern from there. And that is really more of a casual style of blog hop. So if you don't want to have a huge time investment, if you are just like, I want a little tiny boost of traffic, I just want to increase my page views a little bit just to get that extra little boost during the month, and you have an established audience, so doing that type could be successful, then that is a great first time blog type to start with. However, the second type of blog hop that I have run is definitely the one that I have seen the most benefits for. So I started out doing the blog hop type where you just had the directing people to people's blog posts, and that was it. There wasn't any incentive really to participate, and I did not see a lot of traffic or growth with that style. I was really hoping I would, but it just didn't work out how I wanted it to. So I started experimenting with having a blog hop that involves giving away free PDFs each day. So that was something where I gather a group of designers together. They each pick a crochet pattern that they have, whether it is new or an old design that they're just kind of revamping, and then they choose that PDF to be available for 24 hours. And that is an awesome incentive for people to come to the blog hop. You would be amazed at the amount of traffic that can come in when people are offered a free pattern. It is insane, especially a PDF pattern. There's something about that versus having just a free pattern in a blog post that really creates a lot of incentive and a lot of traffic to your own blog. So if you are running a free PDF event, then what you'll do is you will host the blog hop. You'll have a blog post where you will update it each day with the different designers' patterns, and then you will direct people to the designer's blog where they can get the Ravelry link, and that way you get the traffic, they get the traffic, and then people get the download as well. It's a awesome way for people to experience new designers that they've never met before or they've never seen their designs before. My audience really, really loves when I do these events just because they get exposed to a lot of designers that they've never seen, and they send me lots of emails saying, hey, I really love getting to meet this new designer, and now I'm going to follow them and keep up with all of their designs. That is something that makes me really happy. So that is a really great engagement style blog. If you are trying to grow your blog in terms of page views and ad revenue, that is going to be the most successful one for you, no matter what duration of time that is. I see crazy amounts of traffic from those. I make I make over $1,400 from that each time I do those blog hops, and that's when I'm doing a month-long blog hop. So I do it like I just did one for the month of March, and my last one in March had the highest traffic I've ever gotten. I got over 123,000 page views from that entire month of doing the blog hop. So there is huge potential in that type of thing. And I was quickly able to reach that Mediavine goal and get up into that ad network, which was really cool and really encouraging. That took me some time to build that up, but doing that style of blog hop has a lot of potential to increase all of those different things. So once you kind of figure out what is my goal with my blog hop, do I want to do the first or second style of it, then it's time to kind of start organizing it. So basically organization for a blog hop comes down to, what is my theme going to be? What length of time do I want it to be? And then which designers am I going to include in this type of event? So I usually try to do a month-long blog hop. I will admit before I talk about doing any other lengths is that this is a month-long blog hop is a huge commitment of time. You can easily have a successful blog hop doing a week 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or doing a month, any range of time will see some success. Each one just has different amounts of traffic that you'll see, just because if you're doing it over a month-long period and you have your you're just doing versus a week, it's 3 times as much as that one. So you're going to see a lot more traffic, a lot more incoming people, a lot more ad revenue, just because it is a longer period of time. You can make those short ones successful. You totally can. I've had 2-week ones that were great little boosts of traffic, but if you're trying to reach a certain page view goal, or you're trying to reach other goals, then doing a longer one is best. But if you are starting out for the first time hosting a blog hop on your blog, then doing that first kind of tier of it where you just do 1 week, that is a great way to start. It's a great way to dip your toes into that whole area. See, do I even like running a blog hop? Because some people discover, hey, I hated doing that. That was terrible. And I will admit that doing a blog hop for 30 days, it is very hard. My husband can attest that I want to quit about a week after I start, just because I know there's so much more in the blog hop that's coming up. Or if I am like halfway through, I want to quit about once a week. But then I just keep seeing, okay, I'm getting all these page views, I'm getting this increase to my email list, I'm getting ad revenue, so it makes it worth it. And it is something that I do see the benefits for it, but it is a lot of time and I'm usually burnt out. So because it is a huge time commitment, you're essentially devoting an entire month just to work on your blog. I did that back in November and October, and that really helped me reach certain goals with my blog, but it took a lot of time and a lot of effort. And if that is not something that you want to do on your first blog hop, then go ahead and just do the 1 week version of your blog hop. It will totally work. And I see in a comment, Sally Schilling said, wish she had more than one pattern so she could join in on a blog hop. You'll totally get there, Sally. It is, when I first started out, I just had a couple patterns, and it just took me some time to kind of build up enough to be able to have enough to do a blog hop. And if you have your own blog and you are feeling kind of nervous about participating in a blog hop that someone else is running, you can totally have a small amount of patterns or articles on your own blog and still provide quality content for people so that they will want to come and visit. So if you don't feel like you have enough content on your blog where you want to host a blog hop, totally keep your eyes out for different designers who are hosting them on their blogs. A lot of people are starting to do it more just because it is really profitable and really worth it on a lot of different things. So if you are wanting to do that, just go ahead and reach out to different bloggers that you see. I don't know when my next blog hop would be. Otherwise, I would say, hey, just totally apply to be a part of mine. But all you need is one pattern to take part in a blog hop, and then you can get that amount of traffic and that increase in your audience. It's that easy. Just one pattern that you are willing to share for free for one day, and then you can join in on a blog. Yeah, you're welcome, Sally. So once you kind of figure out what length of time that you want to have your blog hop be, whether that's a 1 week to 4 weeks, some people even do them for 2 months. I am never going to do that because that is just way too much time and I cannot handle that at all. But then you'll want to kind of pick your theme. When I was starting out, I kind of had a mishmash of patterns that I would have different designers do. So I would say, okay, give me back to school patterns. But back to school can kind of be a pretty vague vague term, people's interpretation of what a back to school pattern is can be really different. And I thought, oh, I want to include a bundle where people can just buy all the patterns instead of waiting the whole time to get a certain one. And because the patterns weren't cohesive, a lot of people didn't buy it, despite what I was thinking was going to happen. And I thought it was going to sell a ton and people were going to come to the blog hop a lot to get these different patterns. But it didn't end up happening because the theme wasn't cohesive. So kind of what I started figuring out that I wanted to do was I center all my blog hops around fashion. So I will do one a season. So I've done fall fashion, winter fashion, spring, and then summer fashion. That really just helps provide a wide range of patterns that different designers can offer, because sometimes designers are willing to offer a garment for free, but generally they will want to just do a small pattern like a hat or a shawl. Hi, Rhoda18. Welcome to the live. And it really just depends on what do you yourself want to offer and what do you think these different designers are going to offer. I know some people, one that I just was in, it was stash busting patterns. That is a great one for just having a bunch of little patterns that people can get. Some people do blog hops where they will have the one that is run by Bear Rye. She does a blanket crochet along, as well as a blog hop where you'll be able to get different blanket squares each day of her blog hop, and that is super successful for her. My fashion one is really successful for me because people love getting free accessories and garments as a part of a blog hop. So just kind of figure out what is the audience that you're trying to reach. Who do you want to gear your blog hop towards? Are you just trying to reach a certain niche in crochet, or do you want to have this reach more people than just like if you're offering, like for me, if I were to hone in on my niche, it would be color work crochet. So if I were to just offer color work patterns, which I think people would really enjoy, that is not something that a lot of designers do. So it would be harder to get a lot of designers to participate in a blog hop like that. But if you just want to have a blog hop yourself where you just offer different PDFs and just have all the traffic come to you, then you can easily do that as well. And then once you kind of pick that theme, just kind of test it out with the different designers and ask different people. Like, feel free to ask me, whether you send me a message on Instagram or you send me an email. I would love to help you out, kind of figure out how you want to run your blog hop and figure out that theme for you. But just kind of look around on Pinterest and see what you come across. Then once you pick your theme out, then you can start reaching out to different designers. So one thing that I really try to do with my different blog hops is my goal is to help all of the designers that are involved in it, as well as providing great content for different people. So I kind of have a list that I've developed over doing a year of blog hops. This is the group of people that I ask first. And with my last blog hop sign up, it filled up in under a day. I got 31 designers, which was amazing, but that just took me time in order to find that group of people that I liked. If you are in an engagement group on Instagram, that is a great place to start out and ask your friends on Instagram or other social media who you know who are crochet designers, saying, hey, I want to run this blog hop. What do you guys think? Do you want to be a part of it? And then you can also just throw it out there in Facebook groups. If you're a part of any crochet Facebook groups, a lot of designers are always willing to get traffic to their patterns. So you can easily find some designers. And sometimes it will just take time to kind of build that repertoire with different people to show that you are a reliable person to work with. And just so that you can kind of figure out which designers that you like to work with. Because sometimes you won't like working with a certain designer. That just happens. Sometimes you just don't mesh. They don't follow the instructions that you've given them, and it just doesn't work out. And you just learn, okay, I'm not going to ask them to be a part of my blog hop again. And that's just what happens sometimes. And that's totally okay. This is a whole learning process when you're first starting out running these type of events, but you'll get there and you'll have that good core group of people that you are able to refer to. And don't be afraid of adding new designers into your pool. It's really fun to just meet new crochet designers to really help people out who are first starting out with crochet designing. And I really enjoy getting to introduce my audience to different crochet designers. It's a lot of fun, and it's really cool just to see people like light up and just see traffic that they've never been getting before. So really, if you are having the goal of your blog to serve others and have the goal of your blog hop be to serve others, then you will not only have a good group of people to work with, but you will also have just more success in your blog hop because people really like being served. And if you can serve those that you're working with as well as those that you're reaching out to, then that service will be felt by a lot of people, and you will see a lot more success with that. And that does take time. Like I said, this all just takes time, and you'll get there. Once you've kind of figured out those three things, then you can start to think of how you want the structure of your blog hop to be in terms of how you are running it. So with my blog hops, what I will do is each blog hop that I host, I will have a blog post on my blog that I update every single day. And that has, I will create a pin on Pinterest so that people can pin it if they want to just save that pattern and don't want to get the free download. And I just update that every single day with instructions of what people are supposed to do. I have been a part of blog hops where people have not given super in-depth instructions, and it caused a lot of confusion. I did that when I first started out doing these, and I got a lot of emails of people being confused, but it's taken me a couple times to try and figure out what are the best instructions that I want to have for getting these different patterns. And that just took me a lot of trial and error. But the more instructions that you can give, the better. Just lay everything out super clearly and simply and make it as easy as possible for people. And that will really help people see the benefit of what they're doing. Because if you can make it seem less intimidating, you make it really easy for people to find the different things. Like I have all of my designers have a certain button that leads people to Ravelry, and it just provides a cohesiveness to all of the blog posts. That way people know, okay, I'm always going to be looking out for this button on the blog post, which is just an image that then you just link to the Ravelry page. If you just have that familiarity in all of your different instructions that you give and on all of the designers' posts, then people are really easily able to find it and they'll want to keep participating in your blog hop. So within my blog post and within those instructions, what I do is I then direct the people who are coming to get their free patterns. I have them go to the designer's blog or Ravelry page. Some designers don't have a blog, and so they just want to get the Ravelry traffic. But I usually work with a lot of crochet bloggers, so we all want to get more traffic. So I have everyone direct people to me to get the code as well as the designer's link. And then once they go to the designer's blog post, then they will get their link for Ravelry, and then they can use the code they got from me to get the Ravelry pattern for free. That has been, I do get complaints sometimes from people who just aren't reading the instructions, or they are just frustrated with how that is set up. But that is really the best way to make it beneficial for you as well as the designers and the people who are involved in your blog, because something that we designers are sacrificing is thousands of dollars of revenue whenever we are doing these blog hops. Because if we're giving away a free pattern that costs $3 and then we are getting over 1,000 downloads per blog hop for that pattern, we're giving away $3,000 of pattern sales that we could have had. And that is just crazy. So the best way for us to make it back just a little bit is get those paid views, because that can convert to email subscribers, that can convert to ad revenue. So even though we only make back a couple pennies of what we are giving away, it's still is worth it. Yes, it's a little bit extra, a couple extra clicks for people, but it's the most beneficial way for everyone in general. So if you get complaints from people who don't like that you have that set up with your blog up, don't worry. It's okay. They'll still come back to it and it will totally work out. So that is kind of how I structure all my blog posts. Basically, the thing that you want to just keep in mind is be clear, have precise instructions, have it be an easy structure, and have the goal to serve the people who are involved and participating in the blog hop. So once you kind of figure out those different things, then you'll want to like how you're going to structure your blog post. Then you want to figure out how are you going to define guidelines for each of your participants. So what I have with my participants is I will create a sign-up sheet that everyone uses. They give me all of their info. That way I can keep in touch with them. And then I will set deadlines for, okay, you need to have your all of your images turned into me at this certain time. Then you need to give me all of your pattern links at this time. And I always have people have their Ravelry codes for the free downloads of the pattern go live 12 hours in advance from when I'm going to be sending out my daily email to my email list. This is something that it took me a little bit of time to kind of figure out what was the period of time I wanted to have to be able to test everything. That was something that I didn't do initially, and I regretted that right away because either the link didn't work, the code didn't work, or people couldn't find things. So if you make sure that you set aside some time where you can test the designer's blog post, you can test the Ravelry code to make sure that it works, just give yourself a generous amount of time in order to do that. So if you know, okay, I go to bed at 9 p.m. every single night, then what time do I want to have everything ready for the next day for my blog hop? I work with people all over the world, so I get a bunch of different time zones, which can feel really crazy sometimes. So I usually just have people have their blog posts ready and their code live at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, because most people that I work with are on the East Coast. So that way we have enough time before they go to bed for me to be able to do that and check everything. So you just want to keep in mind where your participants are at, how much time do you want to have to make sure that everything's working, because you do want to give yourself a buffer of if something doesn't work, do you have enough time to be able to have that designer be able to fix it? Because sometimes what can happen is there's just a miscommunication, things don't work out, and you aren't able to have everything ready before you or yourself want to go to bed. And because they're already in bed, you can't get a hold of them. And then sometimes you just have to delay sending out your email or updating your blog post till the next day. People will survive. It's totally okay. I've had to do it and it works out totally fine. But just kind of give yourself that time and the designer some time to be able to have everything prepared. So kind of set those deadlines, make sure it works. And one thing that I am going to start doing with my next blog hop is have the same code for every single pattern. That way people don't have to, wonder, okay, there's this new code that I need to know today. Oh, there's this new code for the next day. What am I going to do? Yeah, Sally Schilling said time zones are hard. It is so hard. It's so hard to coordinate everyone's time zone. And having the same Ravelry code, I think, is going to help a lot, just because then people can set it up ahead of time. And make sure that if you are feeling a little bit nervous about people having their blog posts ready or having these different things ready, give yourself a ton of time. If you want to have everything ready to go and live the day, like almost a full 24 hours before their feature day, do it. that is totally up to you. You are the one that gets to set the rules, and your participants are supposed to follow them. And a lot of people, one thing that I have learned is just give grace to people when they make mistakes. Give grace to them, like still include their pattern, just put it on hold for a little bit if you have to just wait a couple more hours till you get a hold of them. But don't kick anyone out, because you want to be able to have these people want to work with you again. So just give grace when mistakes happen. I have had to do that a lot, and I am okay with doing that. Yes, there's a little bit of stress that happens before that, but if you are having that goal to serve other people, then it's an easy choice just to be like, okay, you know what? I'm going to just give them some grace with this. I'm going to give myself grace with having this design put out or have this thing ready, and it will all work out in the end. And yes, that is really hard to feel in the moment, because if you're coordinating so many people and you want to make sure everything's working, then it's really hard to make sure everything is running smoothly. Because, I mean, working with over 30 people is a lot of work. But you can make it happen. It can totally work out. But I recommend having same Ravelry button that you send to everyone, the same code that everybody uses, and having a cohesive space that everybody can put their information in, and make sure that people just have all of their pattern links within that. If you're doing a Google Sheet, that everyone puts their pattern links in there. That way, it is easy to have all of that info for you to add into your own blog post. I will usually do a Google Drive folder for people to put their images in, and then I make a bunch of graphics, and then I will put those in there. Like, I will make Instagram story graphics, I'll do like Instagram posts or Facebook posts, because I use a lot of Facebook in my promotions for my blog hops. And then if people want to include it in their Instagram stories or post onto their feeds, then they can do that as well. But the main thing that I do graphics for is Pinterest, just because that can be really a huge traffic driver when it comes to a blog hop. But just creating it to be as easy to participate in as possible. And then once you kind of have all of those logistics figured out, and you will want to decide, I don't know if I mentioned this earlier, but you will want to decide how long you want your PDF to be available. Some people will do it for 24 hours, some people 48 hours, and other people, like one I just participated in, we did it for a week. So we had all of the PDFs available at once. They were available for a week, and then we would drive traffic to that. That is a really cool way to have designers do more of the work than you having to do it all by yourself. But you might not see as much traffic from that, just because having the incentive of 24 hours really provides people to want to make sure they can get that PDF. So you will usually see more traffic on that structure of time limit for each designer's pattern. So then when it comes to promoting these blog hops, I use a couple different platforms. The biggest one is your email list. I will send a daily email out to a certain email segment on my email list. If usually most email newsletter providers, they will have something where you can create a segment or a section of your email list that is specifically for the event. And what I'll do is I will have a sign up form in my blog post. And this last blog hop, what I did is I had a pop-up form as well, which really increased my newsletter subscribers, just because people love getting that daily email to let them know, hey, a new pattern's available. You can come and get this right now. And that is really cool, just to see how you'll get a lot more engagement on your newsletter through that. If people are thanking you, or they are responding, or have questions for you about that. But having that email daily email, yes, it's a little bit of extra work, but I will have a template available for an email that you can send in my blog post that I will be sharing later. And it doesn't need to be anything fancy at all. You can just have your email be something like, hey, the free pattern is available now, have a photo of the pattern, and then include the instructions of how they can get to the pattern. I always do that, even though I include the instructions for getting the pattern in my blog posts and in the instructions on my blog hop page. But people appreciate that, especially if they're new to your blog hop, but they signed up for the newsletter for it. That is just a good little service. It's just a quick thing. I always copy and paste my emails and then maybe edit the top with the new designer's information and what the pattern is, or I just add a little blurb of like, oh, here's how my week's going. How about you? What was crazy was seeing during this time right now, having my blog hop start in the middle of all this craziness of us having to stay at home a lot and all this stuff going on in the world. I think that was one reason why I got so much traffic, just because people were having to stay at home more, and that provided, people saw that as a way to really have something to look forward to every day. And that's one reason why having the daily email is so important, just because it is a great way to just provide that little communication with your audience. Whereas if you're just having people doing an Instagram post or a Facebook post about it, it's not as much of a connection that's possible as it is with a newsletter. And then you'll see that benefit come back to you when you do future emails to your newsletter, just because you'll have more people on there, and it's really cool just to see your audience grow through that. So that will be your biggest way to drive traffic. Another way is through Pinterest. I always have a pin for Pinterest where I will say, hey, we're having an event where we're doing 31 free PDFs. Here are all the designers. And then I will pin that for just my blog hop post, and that usually does really well, because if people see the words free PDFs and it comes to crochet, then they're going to come, they're going to click, they're going to run to your blog and make that happen. You can also do a bunch of other pins for it. What I do is each designer that I have in each featured day, then I will have that pattern photo be a pinnable image, just because that provides something for your audience to be able to reshare easier, and that way you can get more of that traffic in general. So Pinterest is pretty self-explanatory. Just pin about your blog hop, make sure people hear about it, but that probably won't be the quickest way that you will see traffic, especially with the way that Pinterest is changing a lot right now. But the most successful, besides my email list and some of Pinterest, Facebook is actually really, really great for promoting blog hops. I don't know what it is about Facebook, but people love crochet blog hops on there. What I will do is I will post about it on my Facebook page, usually a couple days before the event. That way people know that it's happening, kind of drive some of that traffic, increase that event newsletter, and then just get that hype built up for people. And then each day on my Facebook page, I will share the featured design for the day. So what's great about that is then if you're doing a month-long blog hop, then you have 30 new Facebook posts, and you can even schedule those all in advance, because if you're using the same link for each blog hop day, in terms of like directing people always to the same blog post, like what I do, then you can just schedule all of them in advance. You can have all the images done, you can have all the instructions and the pattern names finished, and you can do a lot of this scheduling ahead of time. And the same goes for an email as well. You can just have everything drafted up, so that then once you test everything, all ready to go, and then you can just have it all ready. But Facebook, another way that I use it a lot is I will share in Facebook groups. So I will post onto Facebook in different crochet groups saying, hey, there's this 24-hour PDF available. You can get this from this time to this time. And then I do a little blurb about how they can get it and kind of share a little bit about the pattern. It's usually not more than a paragraph. And then if you do share in a Facebook group, don't include the link for your blog post within your post description. Facebook doesn't like as many people directing people away from their platform. They mainly want to just have people stay on that. So if you are directing people away from Facebook, then include that link for your blog post within the comments, and that will see a bigger spike in traffic just because you'll get more engagement from Facebook that way, and you'll be able to see that work a lot better in terms of getting those people coming to your blog. And it took me a little bit of time to kind of build up that ability to get more people on Facebook coming to my blog. But I think because I've done a couple blog hops now where I've done that, now when people see my name on Facebook, they're like, ooh, it's one of her blog hops. I can go and I can be a part of that and see that. And people love free stuff. So if you are offering something free, then people will be excited to go to your blog. And it's really interesting to see what patterns on different social media do well. Sometimes it's shawls, sometimes it's hats. Pretty much every time I share a hat design as a part of the blog hop, it does super well. I don't know what it is about beanies, but beanies are one of the most successful things. There's people love them, I think, because they're quick and easy to make. Shawls are another thing that people really love getting on blog hops. I've shared a different range of those things, and sometimes it seems like the more complicated the pattern, the more people want to get it. But sometimes you might have a pattern that you think, oh, this is going to do amazing, and then it totally tanks. I mean, and when I say tanks, I mean that it doesn't get more than 1,000 downloads. So if you build up your blog hop to have a large audience, and then you with my blog hops, because I've built it up to a certain point, most people who are a part of them get more than 1,000 downloads each day, and they get to the first page on Ravelry. And that's just taken time with me building that audience in terms of my newsletter and my Facebook page to get people interested in that. So you can just, that can be your goal, that you want to have everyone get 1,000 downloads. But when I was first starting, it was usually about, it was just a couple hundred, which is still amazing when you're first starting out as a blog with doing blog hops. Getting anything more than 10 is awesome. And, but I think that if you kind of follow this format and you follow this roadmap for running a blog hop, that you can get that traffic a lot faster, just because you'll know and you won't have to experiment as much as I did to figure out what worked best for me. So if you are just trying to figure it out, it will just take time. If you guys have any questions, since we're coming up on 45 minutes, if you guys have any questions for me about blog hops in general, if you're wondering how to organize things, you're wondering how to format things, just go ahead and ask me, and I would love to answer that for you. If you've got a question, just throw it up in the live chat in the comments, and I'll do my best to answer that. So I love talking about blog hops. I love running blog hops. So I love answering any questions that you guys might have. I think this kind of basically covers a lot of the just the structure of what I do. And so if you I would just say that sometimes blog hops can feel discouraging when you're first starting out, just because you might not see the traffic that you want right away. So I do want to give that disclaimer, like, hey, sometimes this doesn't work for everybody. You find that something works better for you than it does for somebody else. That was something that I had to learn as I did these different things. Sometimes you learn that you don't like working with someone as much, but you like working with another person better. And you'll just kind of figure out that as you go. And sometimes what also happens is that people won't read the instructions for your blog hops sometimes, and they will lash out at you. They'll blame you because they didn't read those instructions. And that is something that I have struggled with. I don't know why free stuff attracts certain people, but those people are so few. And most people don't get emails like that. I think just because my blog hops are a little bit bigger, that because I have more people I'm sending things to, that there is more of a chance to have that happen. But in general, everyone's going to be so appreciative of having you put on an event like that. They'll really see how much work goes into organizing something like that, and they will love just getting to meet different designers. But I do want to just encourage you, hey, if you have someone who is rude or mean and they lash out at you because they couldn't get a free PDF, it's okay. That, like, it's just a PDF. They'll get over it. It'll work out. It's totally fine. But there will be times where, and if you are ever running a blog hop and you get tired, just take a little bit of a break. Just step away from it for a few hours. There's no reason to promote it 24/7. That's something that I struggle with because I want it to be the best that it can be. So I'm constantly trying to just work on making sure as many people as possible can see it, which is good, but it is not good the amount that I work. So do set some boundaries when it comes to running your blog hops. Do create those time restraints for yourself. And I'm preaching to myself right now because I need to do that more often too. But just kind of find what works best for you. If you just want to work a little bit on it each day, that's totally fine. If you don't want to spend a ton of time on promotion, instead just have other people do promotion for you and go with that, that is totally okay too. I know I have been thinking about doing a little bit less promotion just because it is a lot of work that goes into something like this, but I think it's worth it in the end, and I'm going to keep doing blog hops. I am trying to stray a little bit more away from doing events on my blog just because I want to focus on some other things. But if you are starting out with your blog, you're wanting to reach these different goals, then blog hop is a really great way to grow. And that is something that's really cool about these type of events is when you see different growth that happens, you'll feel really encouraged. You'll keep wanting to put them on. And it's just that little boost of confidence that you need sometimes as a blogger or as a designer to keep going forward in your pursuit of doing that. Because it can get really lonely if you're not seeing traffic, if you're not seeing people buying your patterns. And then having a blog hop can really just give that little boost not only to your different platforms in general, but also to just helping you grow as a designer. And I forgot to mention with Instagram, when it comes to blog hops, that is not necessarily the social media platform to focus on with this. I don't really see a ton of influx of people from Instagram coming to a blog hop. I might get a little bit of page views from them, but I have learned that I don't need to post about it every day on Instagram just because it's not, they don't rank posts as high, or I just don't see that engagement from people when I post patterns like that. Instagram is more of a social platform and portfolio for your business as opposed to a traffic driver. If you ask most bloggers, they'll tell you that Instagram is really great for making connections with companies and different designers out there and reaching your people by providing photos and content for them. But if you want to grow your blog, Instagram is not the platform to focus on. And I wish that I would have known that more from the beginning, because I wouldn't have invested as much time on that versus doing something more like Pinterest or my email list. But it's just something, like, you might be amazed. Sometimes you can have a lot of traffic come in from Instagram, but I haven't really seen that at all. Instead, it comes from other platforms. So if you are trying to just pick a social media platform, whether it's Instagram or Facebook, that you want to focus on when it comes to your blog hop, and that like maybe test out the two to see which one brings you more traffic. But I can pretty much guarantee that Facebook will be the one that gives you way more traffic than Instagram, just because people are going on there more for links and photos and sharing things, as opposed to Instagram is just staying on your feed. So make sure you focus on your email newsletter, and that is the main thing of how you promote it and get that group of people together who is going to want to come and visit your blog every day for that event. Make sure you pin to Pinterest, as well as making sure that you use it to kind of grow your Facebook pages too. And if you are posting in Facebook, then I always tag myself in the post. So I'll just do like @eClaireMakery within my post on Facebook if I'm sharing it to a Facebook group. And then that way people are able to see, oh, hey, this is the page that's hosting this. So then I can go directly to them every day in order to get these updates. You can also share your Facebook posts in some groups as well. So if you're sharing it from your business page or your blog page on Facebook, then you can sometimes share your posts directly to a Facebook group. Some Facebook groups for crochet do not allow this, so just pay attention to the rules and guidelines for each group that you post in, and just make sure to just follow the rules and use all your resources that you have available to you. So we are almost on an hour already. Wow, how did that much time pass? So if you guys don't have any more questions, or if you do have some questions, go ahead and put them in the chat. If you don't, then I will kind of go ahead and wrap this episode up. Just thank you so much for joining in. I hope that this provided some answers of how to run a blog hop. And like I said before, I am writing up a blog post right now. I was hoping to have it finished in order to share the link with you guys tonight. But if you want to check that out, that's basically the notes of everything that I have talked about in this podcast episode. And it will have some good resources for how you can do some more formatting stuff, how I organize my things. I'll probably even include like a template that you guys can use for Google Sheets for how to set up a sign-up sheet, or different resources to make it easier for you, because I didn't have any of these available to me when I was first starting out as a crochet blogger, and so my goal is to make it as easy as possible for you guys as I can. So thank you for joining me today. Next week, I am going to have one of Kate, who is going to join me on our next live podcast episode on Wednesday. She is going to share all about how to be a pattern tester and kind of different testing things in terms of coming from it as a tester and as a designer as well, just to provide some insight of how that whole process goes in the design process, because there's a lot involved in testing, and she has so much experience with it, and I'm really excited to get to share all of her tips and tricks on how to do those different things, be a good tester, be a good designer, and all of that. So I will be sending an email out to my newsletter, so if you are not already subscribed to that, be sure to do that. I will quick pull up the email sign up list for me. The one that I will share with you guys is the one that will give you guys a free colorwork cheat sheet. And I have put together kind of a list just because I specialize in colorwork. This will be a really good resource to start out with if you are feeling really intimidated by that at all. This has some of my basic definitions and tips that you can use. Go ahead and put this in the comments over there, and I'll include this in the description for this live as well. The live will be available as a replay. So that link that I just shared in the chat, I'll include this. And if you want to be the first to know when I'm going to be doing a live, be sure to subscribe to my channel, hit that notification button so that you're notified when I'm going to be doing that, and sign up for my email list because I send out newsletters about when the new podcast episodes are going to go live. And I'm think that no tech issues will happen next week. Thank you for everyone who has had a ton of patience with me as I've been learning this, because tech is really hard. Oh no, Yarn Geek, I'm just going to be ending this, but it will be available as a replay. Thanks for coming anyway. So I really hope all this information helped you guys out, and that you'll feel encouraged and feel like doing a blog hop is more possible, and you can totally do it. I totally believe in you guys. You've got this. You can make your blog successful. You can make your businesses successful. It just takes a couple little things that you have to do and a lot of trial and error, but you can totally get there. So I hope that you will join me next time on my podcast, and I will catch you guys later. I will hang out with you next time, and I can't wait to chat next week. Okay, bye everybody.